With a lot of holiday parties and festivities going on right now, this is an excellent reminder to never drink and drive. And here to talk about some of the consequences of getting a DUI is attorney Jonathan Dichter. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you back again.
Thanks again, Amity. It's always great to be here.
So first of all, remind everyone what your firm is all about.
So I am the founder of a firm called DUI Heroes. We're based out of Linwood, but we handle cases all over Washington, and we provide defense for folks who have made the unfortunate mistake of drinking and driving and getting charged with a DUI. And we provide really top-notch, cutting-edge defense, looking at every possible way to help people get through that mistake, help people get back to their lives.
Because everyone makes mistakes.
Absolutely.
It does happen.
Easiest mistake to make.
It really is. And it's also something that has further reaching non-legal consequences, isn't that right? Like even in the workplace? In
the workplace and in your personal life. It's interesting. People don't always think about it. We've dealt with a lot of nurses, for instance, who have licensing issues in terms of getting relicensed or even getting licensed in the first place. And there are interesting nuances to it depending on where you are in your career. For example, we've discovered over time, and of course this is going to vary from individual to individual, that if you're already a nurse, it might be less difficult to get relicensed with a DUI, but if you're not a nurse yet, getting your license in the first place might be more difficult. And sometimes there are things we can do to help out. Engineers, software engineers, people who work for places like Boeing or Microsoft, Amazon, can have serious consequences at their workplace. There are people who have built into their job contracts that they have to disclose if they even get arrested, whether or not they're convicted.
Wow.
And in some cases within 48 hours, and they don't even know it. We've had people come to us 4 or 5 days after an event, and they've already run afoul of that, and they end up with job consequences that we couldn't have done anything about because we didn't know.
How do you, what would your advice be to someone who might be dealing with this, like read your contract?
Well, the first piece of advice I always give everybody is as soon as possible after having contact with law enforcement for a DUI or anything related, contact an attorney.
Okay.
And make sure it's somebody who practices DUI law.
Yeah.
And by as soon as possible, I mean like within 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
That way you can start considering all the different aspects of it.
Okay.
And make sure it's someone who practices DUI law.
Yeah.
There can be far-reaching consequences if you don't have someone like that.
Right, if they don't know exactly what they're doing.
I got probably one of the most heartbreaking calls I think I've gotten from not a client of mine, someone who had somebody else years and years ago. She called me about 2 years ago in tears. She had gotten arrested for DUI, and she had worked with an attorney where DUI wasn't really their forte, and her case had resolved itself in sort of an average way. Yeah. And years had gone by, nothing bad had happened. 5 years had gone by. She was unmarried at the time. Now she's married. She's got a daughter, and her daughter's school was doing a field trip. And her daughter was absolutely heartbroken when the school said mom couldn't be a chaperone.
What? Really?
She had a DUI, and when you're a chaperone on a school field trip, one of the things you have to be able to do is drive in the event of an emergency.
Got it, okay.
And the school has to then cover the insurance for that, and you become an insurance liability risk and all that. And nobody thinks about that at the time, right? And had this particular individual had somebody who was a little bit more familiar with DUIs at the time, there could have potentially been a different resolution that might have avoided that. But now this poor mom, years after the incident, has this heartbroken little girl, and there's nothing she could do about it.
Nothing she could do. It's interesting because I think after something happens, in our lives that we make a mistake, the first reaction is I don't want to do anything. I just need to not think about it for a few days. But you say, like, your life, if you just spend a little bit of time thinking about it and giving you a call.
Yes.
So how do you help clients?
Well, the first thing that we try to do is make sure they understand the process. And really that's the biggest hurdle with DUIs is the process is very, very confusing.
Yeah.
We make sure everybody who calls us gets a free copy of our book, the DUI Survival Guide. We update it every year. I'm actually working on the 2023 edition right now. I write it. It's written in very basic, non-legalese. It's designed for demystifying the process for the average individual who's just made a mistake.
I think that's really amazing. I don't know how you have all that time to do all this with everything you do. Just overall, before I let you go, what would you say to someone out there who, especially going into this time of year, being careful, but if a mistake happens?
Well, I mean, the first thing really is to recognize that, and I say this with a little bit of levity in my heart, is that Uber is way cheaper than my office, right? The reality is if you've been drinking, you're at a holiday party, you're out there, just get a ride home. Yeah. That's easier.
Yeah.
I would love to meet as many New Day viewers as possible, but not because they need me professionally.
Right.
On the other hand, look, mistakes happen, and that's what we're here for, is to help them with those mistakes. And the advice I give is just give us a call. It's really easy to get a hold of us. We're there for them whenever they need us. And
don't wait.
Don't wait, because time is ticking.
Time is ticking. Jonathan, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. Give my love to your wife for this holiday season. We will hopefully see you again soon.
Absolutely. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. And if you want to get in touch with Jonathan and his team, just visit the website on your screen or visit the link on New Day's website.